Hey, everybody. It's your lovely Lotus Blossom Lizzie. And today we are going to be working in our journal. So get your journal out and work along with me. This is the process video for my woman overboard, and this one is the 9th installment of me working in it. And so I took out a few things ahead of time, and of course I had to adjust the camera for you. If you want to see this video in real time, you can head over to the Patreon channel, and that's patreon.com/LizForAday. The link will be below in the description as well. I'll also put below the some of the supplies that I use. I'll put some links there also. So the first thing I did, I decided to use this pattern cover to enclose or encapsulate a obituary that I had for a dear friend that passed away this summer. And although I would like for it to be in my journal, I don't really want to look at it all the time. So I'm just going to kind of hide it away. And that's what I found most people do, is maybe they just write things out, or they put little notes in and they put them in, secret tuck spots and things like that, because it's not something that they want to look at all the time, but they know that it's there. So this is kind of one of those instances where I know it's there and I'm just going to kind of house it in something pretty. So the next thing I did was just take some washi tape along the edges. I did put this down with some double stick tape, but I put a little washi tape on there as well to make sure that everything stayed down there snug as a bug in a rug. So now I have these printouts, and these were actually some fabric pockets, and I scanned those and made them into paper pockets. And I'm using some of my Aleene's tacky glue to make a pocket with this, and I'm going to come back and zhuzh this up just a little bit in a bit. So I love using the Aleene's tacky glue. That's one of my go-tos. So I've had this little saying, which I got out of a magazine, for a few videos if you've been watching these, and it says, "It's that easy." And I always say that when I want to try to start doing something, and I procrastinate, and then finally I do it, and I say to myself, it was that easy. So that's like the perfect saying. So now I'm taking one of my little tags and I'm just writing on it and tucking it into that lovely little unicorn pocket that I have. I also I have a ton of pictures. I already kind of mounted them on some cardstock, and I wanted to put them in various spots within the book. But before I did that, I made sure I rounded the corners of each one to kind of give it a little bit of a finishing touch, so to speak. But y'all know that's not the end with me. First I had to find or figure out where I want to put them, because this is normally how I work in my journal. I flip through the pages. Sometimes I'll stay on one page and do kind of a layout, and then other times I just kind of just go back and forth, because that's just, the journal speaks to me and the piece speaks to me, and that's just how it goes. So for each of these photos, I actually went and I did some sewing on these. I put some fabric on them, and I also just kind of wrote a little bit of a caption on each one, because I thought it would be cool if, after I die and leave these books, somebody finds them, they'll at least know what year some of this is. So I use my journal as a spot of memory keeping, as well as, just writing, my feelings and things like that. So it's a combination of a lot of things. I always say the junk journal is kind of a scrapbook, memory book, glue book, journal, all encapsulated into one. So here's another one. I'm going to take that to my sewing machine as well. And I just had these little scraps of fabric. So this is a great way to use your scraps, is to just make little mini tags out of them. So I use scrap cardstock for this, and I also use scrap fabric. And I just sewed them on and they look so pretty. So I took out some of my decorated paper clips. You can see I got a gazillion of them in that bag, but I'm going to tell you I don't have enough. But it looks like a gazillion, but I don't think I have enough. So I decided to use some of my Scrabble pieces. And I made those Scrabble pieces using a digital kit that's in the shop as well. And I love those Scrabble pieces. Those paper clips are just beautiful. So I'm just attaching those on because I felt like maybe I might want to move the photos around instead of trying to just glue them on or put them on with tape. And they came out just perfectly. I love the way that little spot came out. Just a gathering and cluster of my loved ones. I love it. So now I'm taking another one of my fabric / paper pockets here, and I'm just trying to figure out if I want to cover some things up because, y'all, this is how I roll. I take out a bunch of stuff and I put it on my desk and I just flip through the pages and see what fits on what page and what doesn't. And I decided to come back and make this into a pocket that I could tell is a pocket. I wanted to put a little notch in there. And I didn't know if I was going to rip the paper up or not, but I didn't. And I decided to keep that little extra piece that fell off of that notch and make it into like a little baby tab. And I used my tiny attacher, as Tim Holtz will call it, but it's just a mini stapler, y'all. Y'all can get a mini stapler anywhere. But it's the tiny attacher that I used. And then I rounded the corners on my little notch. So I love doing that now. It makes me happy. And it makes the journal look prettier too. So definitely I'll try to do all my pockets like that now because it's a thing. I like it. So now I am going to make another pocket with one of my fabric, I'm doing air quotes, my fabric paper pockets here. And I'm using some Aleene's tacky glue. And I've been asked before, how do I choose which glue that I'm going to use? Well, I just use whatever's on my desk, whatever I feel like. And I try to think about the material that I'm using, but, I don't know. So I'm just kind of putting this page back together because I took my little vellum whatnot. I don't know what you would call that. My vellum whatnot that I made. Well, it's not vellum. I'm sorry. It was a, what do you call where you put the two plastics together and you put the laminated. There we go. Laminate. Thank you, self. Self helped me with that one. So now I have this blank page and I really wanted to do something with it, and I'm going to come back to it in a moment. I actually at this moment was printing a picture that I wanted to use, so I decided to keep on going while the picture was printing. And I had these two pictures from this summer as well that I wanted to put on when Slim was here and when we traveled. And so that's the picture that printed. And I'll tell you about that one in a moment. And again, I wanted to put some captions on here. And I guess not just for somebody else if they found the book after I was gone, but for myself as well. So when I look back, and I often look back at my books. Y'all, sometimes I just take my book to my bed and I just rifle through. Well, not really rifle. I gingerly go through the pages and feel all the textures and look at all the pretty colors and all the pictures and things like that. So I like to put some captions in here as well so I know like the time period that these were, because I'm going to have these books for years and years to come. So, and hopefully I'll be around for years and years to come. So I decided to use some washi tape in here because, I'm trying to use all my materials, but I get so many ideas from other YouTubers and things. I'm just like, I just do my best to just incorporate different ways of doing things within my book. So hopefully I'm giving you some ideas too. So please make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're enjoying. If you love different ideas, give this video a thumbs up. So this white page, I actually took a picture of some Oriental soup that I kind of made from scratch, and I really enjoyed it. I ate all of it over like 5 days. And so I wanted to put this in my book as well. And then I had some seaweed snacks that I used on top of the soup, like some croutons. And of course I used some chopsticks, and I actually know how to use chopsticks very well. I have like a big old bag of them in my pantry, and so I was like, I need to make more soup. And so this page was quite plain for me, and so I decided to use some of my Dilutions black paint, and I love these lovely pots of paint. If you've been watching me, you know I love them, and it just goes on so creamy, and they dry really fast, and it's just really, really easy to write on. It's just so smooth and buttery. I just love filling the page after it's done. So I did wait until the page dried, and I decided to cut my picture down just a tad. I've been putting like itty bitty pictures in, and sometimes it's hard to see the pictures, so I made a command decision that from now on I'm going to start printing larger pictures out. So that's what I did on this page, and I have to say it came out quite lovely. So I'm cutting down my little seaweed snack picture, and I know it doesn't sound good, but to me it's good. And then I took one of my air quotes, one of my fabric paper pockets, and I just decided which one I wanted to use, and I thought this looked good with the other page as well, because sometimes I try to, color coordinate just a tad bit with the page on the opposite side. So I did do some sewing around this, and I kind of messed it up. My machine kind of ate the paper a little bit, which is no big deal. So I decided to put a notch in there, which I had not decided to do until I messed that paper up. But I always say there is no mess in junk journaling. So there's no mistakes, and I fixed it right up. So I used some double stick tape to put my picture on, and then I put on the chopstick wrapper as well, because even though I have a gazillion chopsticks, they all are individually wrapped. So I decided to use a wrapper because it's very pretty. And I found like things with Chinese writing I'm really drawn to, and they always have like lots of color, and it's just beautiful. And so I wanted to make sure I incorporated that piece of trash into my journal. So you can see I made this into a lovely pocket, and it's actually a double pocket. And you'll see I'm going to take like a little bit of a piece of paper and just kind of test that out in a moment. We're waiting. Too busy looking at it. So you can see the pocket that I have there. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and hit the notification button so that you'll be notified when more videos like this one come out. I would love for you to come over and support the channel over on Patreon, and that is at patreon.com/LizForAday. And all the links to many of the things that you've seen here and that I've mentioned are down below in the description. So with that, I'm going to say love, peace, and hair grease. From your sweet lotus blossom and lovable Lizzie, have a fantabulous day and enjoy life.